So if you're new to fashion and if this is your first time starting a clothing line and you're ready to release your line, this video today is for you. Because a lot of people who release their clothing lines think that companies just randomly drop clothing lines. There's actually a system to when you are supposed to drop your clothing line. And today I'm gonna put you guys up on game to give you a little heads up on how to understand the system and to know when you should actually be releasing your clothing line. So let's discuss. Next, here on Making the Brand. What's up, everybody? Rob Norman here from Planet Brooklyn Academy, and this is Making the Brand, a series where I give you guys a little insight and knowledge on how to start a clothing brand, and if you already have one, how to make it better. As always, please, I'd appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with everything we drop when it drops. So again, you're starting your first clothing line and you're ready to release it. But when do you release it? When should you be dropping your clothing line? Well, in the industry, we know that there are two times that we normally drop lines, and that's normally during spring, summer, and fall, winter. Now, within these two categories, we have what is called deliveries. And in these deliveries, this is the time that we put out product in the store or we start to promote for that season. Now, when we talk about deliveries, in each one of these categories of spring, summer, and fall, winter, there's normally 4 deliveries. That's what most big companies do. Now, depending on the size of your company, you can change this up. You can, do less or more, depending on how much product you have and how far, how deep you want to go into the season. But for general purposes, there's normally 4. And we're talking about spring, we're looking at spring 1, spring 2, and normally sometimes what they'll do is they'll call the next one summer 1 and summer 2. Or the second configuration that will happen is you'll have your spring 1, spring 2, summer 1, and then resort clothing. And I'll explain what those are as we go through them. So normally those are the 4 categories. And then in fall, winter, what you have is your fall 1, fall 2, winter 1, and then holiday. And I'll explain that also when we discuss fall, winter. Now, when we're talking about spring, also, before we release the line, there are 2 dead periods in the year. And when I say dead periods, I mean there are 2 months of the year where there's no new product ever on the floor. And that's January and July. Why is this the time that there's no product? Well, in January, you got to remember that this is right after New Year's, Christmas, all the holidays, and most people are broke. So we're not putting out any new product. This is the only time stores are trying to get rid of product. So they're trying to clear out all their inventory to make room for the upcoming season. So this is where you get all your great sales and everything, normally in January. And in July, it's the same situation. Stores are basically trying to clear out all their inventory, making way for upcoming seasons. So January and July are the 2 seasons where there are no new product on the floor. But when we're about to start talking about our spring deliveries, the first one always comes around January. It comes around February. And the reason why it comes in February, because I know you're thinking like, well, February, it's still like, it's the dead of winter. Why would we be getting, a first delivery of spring during that time? Well, for the starters, just to think, if you have your clothing line and you want to put out more winter stuff, who would put winter stuff in February? The fact is that we are in the dead of winter, and a lot of people are tired of the winter and they want to look to warmer weather. They're more excited to spring coming. So you don't want to bombard people with more winter stuff. So this is why we start introducing spring. Also, if you have winter stuff that you're putting on the floor at that time, it's going to be harder for you to move because people in their heads equate winter product with winter time. So if you're still trying to promote that come March and April, you're not going to move that product. So this is why we introduce everything as spring. So when we're introducing spring in February, you're going to change up some things. You're going to, you can still have sweatshirts, but what you're going to do is probably add more brighter colors. And also, that first delivery is a small delivery. We don't do a big delivery on the first one because you're just introducing spring to people. So again, your items may still be a little bit heavy. You're still doing sweatshirts. You may want to switch from, scully caps to baseball caps now. and you'll introduce that. So you're starting to give people, a feeling that spring is coming. You may also want to start to amp up your t-shirt selection. If you're not heavily doing t-shirts at this time, you may want to start adding a little bit more so people can start feeling that springtime vibe. Now, your second delivery, Spring 2, which will come in normally somewhere around mid-March, early April. And this delivery will be a little bit bigger. And also this time you're going to start having things that's a little lighter. So you're going to start coming in with your jackets, and you're going to start having more t-shirts offerings. You're going to do more baseball caps. You may want to introduce, trucker caps at this time, because now, the vented hat is now something you can bring into during this time, because on the calendar during, mid-March, early April, we're looking at spring, Easter, everything. So we're introducing spring. So that will be our second delivery. And that is normally the larger delivery of spring. Now, after that, we're going to come into our third delivery, which is our Summer 1. Now, Summer 1, again, we're looking at coming in somewhere during mid-April, early May. Now, granted, it's still not that warm, but it's warm enough that we can now start bringing in things like, lighter color outfits. We can start bringing in linens, things like that. So you're going to introduce that into your third delivery. Your fourth delivery, which is normally, as I said, either your Summer 2 or this is your resort line, is the last one you bring in, and you'll normally bring that in late May, early June. Now, the reason why you're coming in with this one opposed to, introducing anything earlier is that this is a smaller delivery, much like when we do holiday in fall, winter. It's a smaller delivery. It's also considered the resort because when you're looking at May and June, you're talking about after graduations. So people start going on vacation. So you're starting to bring in things that are similar to your first summer delivery, but you may have more floral prints and things that are reminiscent of resort and vacation wear. So you'll put that in there, and you'll also differentiate that between your first summer delivery, because you'll start bringing in shorts and tank tops into this group. Now, again, you're doing it right around the end of the middle of May. Memorial Day is coming in. June, you want to have shorts because now it's going to start getting hotter. Because remember, with global warming and everything, I know here in New York City, we rarely get spring. Spring lasts for about a week to 2 weeks, and then it just jumps right into summer and gets hot. So May could be, somewhat, cool in the beginning, and then it gets hot right towards the end of it. So you want to have those shorts. So that last delivery is coming in right around the end of May, early June. Now, everything you have in your inventory, you're trying to push. So you really don't want to introduce anything new in June. You pretty much want to push out anything you already have. Now, if you're a smaller brand, you can continue, filling in pockets of things that are selling out. So if your t-shirts are selling out, you want to, bump up more orders. You can do that during your June and Julys, because t-shirts will always sell. But things like shorts, you do not want to produce, because shorts are something that, it's a period piece. So after June, you do not want to be selling any shorts. You want to be trying to get rid of shorts. So then we come to July. As I told you, this is the period where we're just basically trying to sell off everything. And again, this is where you get all those great sales, and you're always wondering like, wow, it's the middle of summer. Why are shorts on sale? Again, stores are trying to make room to be able to bring in their next season stuff, which will be fall. So in August, we're going to start introducing fall. So for our first fall delivery will come in normally in the middle of August. Again, much like in January when we introduce spring, fall is coming in early, and the first delivery is normally considered back to school. And you're going to start bringing in back to school items. So again, it's still hot. We're not going to do any heavy fall items, but we're going to start bringing in fall colors. So you can still do light jackets and things like that, but use your fall colors to really give the sense of fall, but still feel that you're still cool enough that you're able to wear something that is still warm enough for warm weather. Also, you may want to change up your products. You're not going to be put out tank tops during this time. You may want to change up your hat. So now you go from twill baseball caps to wool baseball caps. That's where you start making that transition. So from mid-August to early September is your delivery 1. Then delivery 2 will come during mid-September to early October. Again, this is where we do a bigger delivery. So we're going to start doing heavier items. This way you start bringing in your jackets, and you may want to start bringing in long sleeve t-shirts, not so many short sleeve. And we'll bulk up our second delivery for our fall. So we're really doing a major push. After that, we will do our winter one. And winter one is normally now you're doing everything from sweaters and, heavy outerwear pieces. And if you're just starting up and this is not your category, again, you're just beefing up things for more heavier items. So if you want to do more sweatshirts, if you just want to increase the amount of sweatshirts you're putting out, this is the perfect time to do that. So during that winter delivery, again, which is normally around October, early November, you'll push out more sweatshirts if that's what you're doing. So again, you'll be doing less t-shirts, more sweatshirts, more long sleeve t-shirts during that period. Now the last one is last delivery is holiday. And holiday, much like delivery one, is a small one. But this one is very different. This one is kind of like your fourth delivery in spring, summer. Holiday is one where it's featured around the holidays. So it's a capsule that you'll put out that's, catered towards, wearing outfits for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. So this is where you get your ugly Christmas sweaters. People start designing around this time. Or you want something to go out for New Year's, people will design little capsules for this. And this is what you do. And this normally comes out right around November, early December. So you'll design for that. This is when you'll put this out. And then after that, we start the cycle all over again. Coming into January, we're clearing out everything from fall, winter, we're trying to get rid of in January. So again, this is why you're getting those sales. So when you want another winter coat because you need something, you're able to get a good deal on it in January because stores are trying to get rid of it. So these are the delivery dates that stores work with. And these are the things that you need to think about when you're putting out your line. You need to know exactly when you need to deliver and how much. This will help you with your inventory to figure out, do I need to go big, for my first delivery if I'm releasing a line in August? My fall line is coming out. Maybe I need to release my first taste of my line in August. Again, if you're a smaller company, you can say, let me introduce my fall line in August, and I'm gonna start with just a couple of long sleeve t-shirts, put it out, and then I'll really drop my line in September, October. So think of it on that line, but this still follows pretty much the formula of how stores release items. Now the big question is not when you release, but when should you be designing for your seasons? Well, again, bigger stores, when they're designing and they're releasing their lines, when they release their fall line in August, they're starting to design their fall for the following year during the same time. Same with spring. Spring is done in February, they release it. In February, they're designing for spring of the following year. But if you're a smaller company, you don't need to design a whole year in advance. You can actually design a season in advance. So when you drop your fall line in August, you could be designing your spring for the upcoming year, for the next year that's coming. You can start designing for it. The reason being is that if you're a small brand, you may have a local person making your garments for you, or you may have found the factory that can produce small garments for you. And your turnaround time may not be as long as when you're dealing with bigger companies. You're talking about thousands of pieces that they're dealing with. So when they're dealing with that many pieces, they're gonna have to do a lot more. Their lead time needs to be further out because they've got to produce, they got to sample, they got to check production. So they need a year's time to do it. Whereas for you, if you're doing a small line where you're doing maybe 36 pieces, you don't need that much lead time. You're talking about maybe a 6-week turnaround for it. So you want to start, at least if you're doing your spring, you want to start in fall. So starting right between August is when the best time for you to design. So if you start designing it, you can get your samples back early. Also, you want to start marketing your spring line early. So what you want to do is that you want to start designing your line for spring in August and getting your samples early enough so that you can start doing photo shoots with those things, because no one wants to do a photo shoot in January with spring items if you're shooting outside with snow on the ground and everything. But if you can get it early enough, say late September, early October, you can get samples back. You can still do your photo shoots in October. It's still warm enough. You can shoot outside and have those images ready to sit on so that when January comes around, you can start filtering that on social media and everywhere with your photo shoots because you had your samples. Now your stuff is in production, so you don't have to worry about that. You can just keep promoting it, and when your items come in, then you can start selling. Same with when you're doing your fall stuff. You get your start designing it in February, get your samples in. You can start shooting in April. Okay, because in April, early May, it's still cool. There's no snow on the ground. You can start shooting because you do not want to shoot in June with fall stuff, especially outside, and you have the model sweating because they got all this heavy garment on. You want to shoot when it's a little bit cooler so you can do it outside. Granted, you can always use a studio, but a lot of times people want to shoot outside because outside is free, opposed to using a studio because you got to pay for it. So keep in mind that when you want to shoot to promote for your next season, you want to get the samples in early, so you should start designing earlier. So again, the season that you are delivering, you should be designing for the next season for a smaller company. If you have a bigger company where you have a lot more orders coming in, you may need to design a lot earlier. But this is the standard industry practice for timetables of when you should be dropping your garments. So think about that as you guys are developing your lines. Think about when you want to release your lines, because again, a lot of this is a major factor in it. You want to make sure you put out your product at the right time, because you don't want to come in trying to launch your fall line in December and people are doing, holiday, and your stuff is really something that should have came out in early August. So think about that as you're designing, so you can know exactly when and where to release and position your brand and the stuff that you're dropping. All right, I hope this was helpful for you guys. Again, we do new videos every week, so stay tuned. And please, if you have any thoughts or any ideas or any comments, please leave them in the comment section below. And until next week, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.